All right, everybody, welcome to the Comments from the Peanut Gallery podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. Got Terps. I'm here with my man, Brandon Lambert of the Terphouse. How you doing there, boss?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for having me, Jordan.
Well, it's great to have you on the show. It's pretty amazing to have somebody of your status here. You know, we get to see your logo all over the place on the LFA cards to pretty much most things MMA related out there on social media now. So it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, I love it. It's been a big dream of mine to be associated with MMA. I thought I was going to be holding a belt at one point, but life threw me some curveballs, so now here I am just watching my friends hold belts. So I wouldn't have it any other way, actually. So I get to enjoy the thrills without the agony. You know what I mean?
No, totally understandable there for you, man. So, tell us a little bit more about that. What kind of got you on this road exactly to where Terphouse is?
Well, basically, I was an ex-Muay Thai practitioner for a number of years, and had a gym in Seattle, Washington, and started having some episodes during training where I was passing out, things like that, and went to the doctor and found out I had fluid on my brain. Went a little bit further into that and found out that I have what they call an active brain aneurysm. An aneurysm is a deformity inside of the vein, and when they burst, that's when people die. A lot of people think if you have a brain aneurysm, that means die. But a brain aneurysm, people can be born with them. You can not even know they exist, or they can just form over time, which I think that's what happened with me through stress and trauma and things. But then when I was diagnosed with that took me out of the fight game completely. I was put on a lot of different medications, pharmaceuticals, things like that. I didn't like the side effects that they had on me. So I started using medical marijuana, got into cannabis pretty heavily, and started looking into CBD. Figured out the healing properties of CBD. Knew that I had a lot of friends that were on opiates, couldn't afford opiates after they got off their out of their insurance and stuff. So then they turned to heroin, and I wanted to try to change that. So I started developing my own brand of CBD, and that's how Terphouse was born.
That's a pretty incredible story. It's definitely a rocky road on that journey, but it seems like you've came out pretty well, at least all things considered.
Yeah, I'm pretty thankful. I take a negative and turn it into a positive. Made a lot of really good friends that were idols back in the day. And now I've got them on my cell phone. I'm talking to them on a day-to-day basis. So if this had to happen to me, then I'm just thankful that it happened to me now, and I get to do what I'm doing with it.
Hey, like I say, you're making the most out of a situation. That's pretty incredible there. So,
yeah.
With that being said, do you still kind of suffer any of those lingering symptoms from the head trauma or anything like that?
Yeah, so with an active brain aneurysm, I get a lot of atonic seizures, a lot of zone out. So, like, I won't say very much, and I'll just kind of zone out, fall asleep with my eyes open, basically. And then once or twice a week, I'll have what they call a grand mal seizure, where I'll actually seize up my muscles will tensen up, but they're not an exact grand mal because I don't have the lasting effects of them where I'm super sore from muscle tension or anything like that. It's just my body is super tired and my brain doesn't work the way it's supposed to.
Gotcha.
So it's more cognitive functions, things like that. I forget where I'm at. I forget what to say. I'll speak in sentences and I'll miss every other word. So in my brain, I'm saying a full sentence, but verbally, I'm only saying 2 or 3 different words at a time.
That's pretty crazy, man. I can't even imagine what that's like having to experience that. So, with that being said, kind of tying that in with with your business and your products, just for those out there listening who might not exactly know, for something of that nature that you're dealing with, how does your CBD products help with something to that effect?
Well, what CBD does is it actually will restructure your body's chemistry. So if you have like injuries and things of that nature and your body chemistry is jacked up, it will actually help regulate it back to its normal chemistry. Through research, what I found, the reason that I call Terphouse the Terphouse is what makes my oils different than anybody else's is I use natural organic terpenes. You open up the receptors inside of your brain and your immune system. We have cannabinoid receptors inside of our bodies called the CB1, which is in the brain, and the CB2, which is in the immune system and in the stomach. Terpenes will actually open up those receptors so you can receive that CBD or the THC or any of the vitamins or anything that is put inside of your body to allow them to absorb that more efficiently. If you do not have those receptors open, you're missing some of the communications that are going through. Sometimes you can have misfires, and then you can actually excrete some of that CBD or some of that THC. There's a lot of people that say like certain strains don't get them high, and the reason being is that terpene mixture is turning off certain receptors. So they'll say, like a certain strain doesn't do anything for me, but this over here will make me high. It's the same thing. With CBD, there's no THC inside of the CBD, so it's not going to get you high, but the terpenes are what's going to open up those receptors. So when you have something painful, like let's say you're training MMA and you've kicked a shin or you've kicked an elbow in your foot and your foot's throbbing, those receptors in your brain are going to be firing, and those terpenes will actually grab a hold of those receptors and send that CBD to those cannabinoid receptors to start making those cannabinoids better or faster to alleviate that pain and that inflammation. Because it's called the endocannabinoid system. So our endocannabinoid system. So they found that out about 1960, 1970 about how that works, and then that's why they're starting to try to develop all these different pharmaceutical drugs. They're trying to synthesize the effects of CBD. I know that was a little bit long-winded for your question, but...
Oh, no, hey, the more information out there that can be given, the better. I just feel like there's a lot of people who still kind of, on the mass side of things that aren't maybe, I don't like to use the word necessarily the woke population, but those who maybe haven't broke past the traditional propaganda out there to really know how much of a benefit that this is. So I think the more information that we can get out there, the better.
The biggest misconception that I'm finding is people think that CBD is marijuana. Marijuana and CBD are two different things. CBD comes from hemp. CBD and marijuana are part of the cannabis family. So when you ask if it's part of cannabis, yes, it is part of the cannabis family, but it's very, very low with THC. Marijuana has about 3% CBD in it, and hemp has about 3% THC in it. So that's the difference. So they're the exact same parent, but there's two different siblings, like brother and sister. So it's two different properties. Now there are CBDs out there, CBD oils that have THC in them that you can get. You'll hit on drug tests and things like that. But it's not something that's the THC that's inside of there is not something that's going to actually stimulate your brain to get you the psychoactive effects. A lot of CBD oils are 0.3% THC, which is nothing, and that's in the whole bottle. And the reason that it is only 0.3% is because it's illegal to ship anything other than that. So what a lot of companies are doing right now is they're actually misinforming people and saying, well, we have full spectrum oil here. You have 0.3% THC. This is going to be the best you can get. Your body can't take effect with 0.3% THC. There's no reason to have it in there. So that's why we've separated our things. We have our THC cartridges that are pure THC, and then we have our CBD that is pure CBD. What we've done is taken a Rolex, taken it apart, and then offered all the parts back to you for you to put them together instead of putting it together the way that we see fit, leaving some things out, and then pushing it out to the public.
That's a pretty great way to explain the model right there. So with some of your products that you have, what forms do they come in for the people out there listening?
Okay, so the only forms that I have right now are sublingual. The reason being what sublingual is it goes into the capillaries of the blood vessels. A lot of people think that vapes are sublingual, and they are. The problem with CBD vape is CBD has a combustion point of about 198 degrees. A lot of e-liquids have combustion points of 368 to 398 degrees. So by the time it hits the combustion point of the e-liquid, your CBD is already burnt. So you're really only getting about 20 to 30% of the CBD that's actually located inside of the oils. So it is a good way of getting it sublingually. You are getting the full effect, but you're burning a lot of it off. So what we do is sublingual oral drops. You put them underneath your tongue, hold it there for 35 to 45 seconds, let it go into the capillaries of the tongue, and then we have a topical lotion that you put onto the skin, and it goes to the capillaries of the skin. We don't suggest orals very much unless it's super high potency. Reason being is because you lose a lot of that potency through the digestive system.
Understandable. So talk to us a little bit more about how does the gum work? Same sort of concept?
The gum, yeah. So basically it's a sublingual as well. So you'll chew the gum for 10 to 15 minutes, release the CBD inside of the gum, and it's going to go into the capillary of the side of the jaw. So you can put it underneath your tongue if you'd like, but you also can put it into your jaw like snuff or whatnot. the gum's formulated to have a long-lasting flavor, and it's good, but it loses its actual effectiveness with CBD after about 15 or 20 minutes. So after 15 or 20 minutes of chewing it, you're getting your 10 milligrams sublingually, and then you're good. Now, the gum isn't designed to be like a supplement where you want to take your gum every day, but it's designed for, you've taken your sublingual drops, and you're going on a run, and you're going to have impact on your knees or your joints, and you want that extra lubrication or that extra support, you take 2 big workout, you want some extra protection, throw that CBD into your system, and you're good to go.
Beautiful. And so for those out there watching right here, we've got the sublingual oil drops right here from Terphouse. I'm rocking the cotton candy right now. It's been great stuff so far, the same exactly as you've been saying, that those early morning runs, throwing some in, it's always a good day right after that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the reason that I put 40 milligrams. So your body needs 25 milligrams of CBD per dosage for it to take effect. The reason that I've put 40 inside of each serving is so that if people want to do oral, they can, and they still get the full effect. A lot of people like to put their, like vanilla or the coffee flavor inside of their coffee or inside of smoothies, things like that. That's perfectly fine. I'm not saying don't use oral, but don't use 10 or 15 milligrams and then swallow but think it's going to take effect, because it's not. You have to have at least 25 milligrams per dosage for your body to take effect. So one of the big things that I'm getting tired of is a lot of companies micro-dosing and lying to people. You can't take a 300 milligram 30-liter bottle and have 10 milligrams per serving and think it's going to take effect. You've got to take 2 to 3 dosages of those to have one dosage for it to take effect. So what they're doing is micro-dosing you and taking your money. Also a misconception is water-soluble CBD. Water-soluble is not the way to go. They say that it goes into your system faster, which is true, but the problem with that is that it doesn't. Your water will go in, but the CBD doesn't follow the water. It still has to go through the same processes of sublingual or orals. So you're going to bring it in, but then it's going to sit on the outside of your body. It doesn't have anything to hold on to, like a lipid, like a fat, like coconut oil. And whenever you sweat or urinate, it's got to follow that water outside of the body. So that's the misconception, is that CBD will follow the water, but it only follows the water outside the body as fast as it runs. It doesn't follow the body. That doesn't follow the water inside of the body as fast as it runs. So what that means is that it'll go in. It'll be water and CBD. It'll go into the body. The water will go through before the CBD, so it'll sit here. When your body expels the water, it'll come it back out. It'll flush it back out, and it'll go out through urine or sweat. So that's where a lot of other companies like Quantum CBD, you see them all over the LFA. They're microdosing people, and they're lying to people. And they're saying that they have a pH level of 9.5 in a clear plastic bottle. UV light kills pH levels in water. So they don't have pH. Any clear plastic bottle does not have a 9.5 pH level, I can promise you. That's why all of our bottles are black. We don't have a pH level inside of our oils, but we don't want any kind of UV light to diminish or dismantle anything inside of our organic oils. So water-soluble oils are not, or water-soluble vitamins are not the way to go, and low dosages are not the way to go. One more thing, too, is the higher dosages. You see a lot of people saying, I have 3,500 milligrams of hemp oil. I have 5,000 milligrams of hemp oil per 30 milliliters. What they're doing is giving hemp seed oil, and they're doing that by weight. They're telling you that they have, half a gram or whatever of hemp seed oil, and they're calling it CBD because of the misconceptions. A lot of people think that hemp seed oil is CBD, and it is not. If it says hemp extract, it could be CBD, but it could be hemp seed oil as well. So you have to be careful of that. A lot of these companies are coming out, they're multi-level, they're charging you to sign up with them, and then you get paid on the bottles you sell. Anytime you have to pay somebody to sell a product, it's bullshit. And I'm sorry to cuss about it, but I don't want people to start making money off of life-changing things, because CBD is a life-changing substance. It's changed my life. It's saved my life. It's given me the life that I have now. And I will not let people whore it out. So anybody watching this, if you're thinking about getting into the CBD oil business, you better be legitimate, or Terphouse is going to find you out, and we will call you out on your shit, because I will not have my industry raped.
There you go. Shots fired for everybody out there who's trying to play some bullshit. So you've expanded your territory though with your brand. You've mentioned some of the different fight promotions and all of that. How did was it just based off of you being a former fighter yourself that wanted to say, hey, this is a good mark to where I can expand my brand and make the mark, or how did that exactly come about?
Okay, so anybody that knows me knows that I'm very, very passionate about MMA. Very, very passionate. And once I noticed the effects that it had on the brain, the first thing that came to mind were athletes and fighters with CTE and any kind of brain trauma. I mean, I have reason to believe that it actually regenerates damaged brain cells. So if I can help fighters, regenerate their brain cells and help with their speech, help with their quality of their life, then that's something that I want to do. MMA is, it gave me an outlet for kind of change my life around. Muay Thai did, not MMA, but Muay Thai, and then so I want to kind of give back to it. So it's just my passion and my drive for MMA and to help people. That's pretty much how it came to be. So when I see a fighter that's recently hurt, I'm not looking at them as a marketing tool. I'm looking at them as a patient of mine. So I contact them and ask them if there's a way that CBD can help them, and then I send them a package. And then if they happen to show it up online, and then so be it. But a lot of the athletes that you see on social media supporting Terphouse, they're doing it because they love the product and they love the company. It's not because we've reached out to them and because we're paying them. It's because they support the movement. They know what Terphouse is trying to do. So I'm thankful for that. Thank you for everybody that's doing that. I really appreciate you. You took an eye as well. You've been supporting the cause as well, and I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that supported the cause.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I say, anything that we can do to keep helping each other's cause, that's something that I'm all in for. And then I 100% believe in what you're out here doing with CBD and that side of things. I'm definitely big middle finger to Big Pharma on that side across the board. Like I've said that for years. I come from Pueblo, Colorado, where there's a very big opioid epidemic. There's a huge heroin problem that's down there at this point. There's been a lot of issues from that same exact stuff. So, anything that can try to break the mold from that, I'm all for.
Well, and here's something too, real quick too, that is crazy that since you brought up heroin addiction, is the reason that the government is so against CBD is in 2015, I believe it was, there was a company that did a study, and they published an article that stated, and it was verified, that CBD does cure heroin addiction. It doesn't just mask it or cover it up. It cures heroin addiction. Once that article came out, 3 months later, nobody in the company could be found that worked for the company could be found, and the company is no longer in business. So there's truth in this research. That's why there's not a lot of research being had. So if you or anybody that has opioid addiction or is on heroin, give them CBD and try CBD and try to get them off of that. It will help them with their addiction because it helps with the chemical imbalance. When you're addicted, it's because your chemicals you have a chemical imbalance. So when the CBD is helping to restructure that, it helps kill that addiction. So it's not something that's going to. I don't believe that if you cure yourself from addiction with CBD, I don't believe that you will relapse. I truly believe that because it helps with the brain. So anybody with brain trauma, brain cancer, any kind of terminal illness, if you're on a lot of pharmaceutical drugs, a lot of those pharmaceutical drugs are counteracting each other. A lot of people that are dying from terminal illnesses are dying from the medications they're taking and not the diseases. Chemotherapy is killing more people than cancer. So when CBD comes around, and it's the only medication out there that has no side effects. During seminars, I drink a whole bottle of CBD during a seminar. I dare anybody out there with medication to take a whole bottle of your medication. Nobody's going to do it. So if you haven't looked into CBD, I greatly encourage you to do so. If not for you, for a loved one, for children, for pets, for anybody, cannabidiol is going to be the go-to medicinal element that people need to go to avoid any kind of addictions or any kind of side effects. Well, what's crazy to me is people will take a pill that they tell you on TV will make you bleed from your eyes, and you're taking it for a headache. But I tell them that there's no side effects from CBD, and they want to give me the 5th degree on it, and they want lab work and everything. So it's not that they really care what's in it. It's just it's not mainstream yet. So once it becomes mainstream, then I think everybody will start getting a hold of it. And the way it's going to be mainstream is people like you putting out subjects like this. And I greatly appreciate the opportunity for me to be long-winded and kind of explain my position on things.
Oh no, man! Like I say, hey, the more information that we can get directly from the source, because since I've been, sharing some of your material and then just talking about using your product, I've had a lot more people asking me very actively about, what are some of the benefits, what are the ways that it can help impact their life. So I always just direct them over to the website. And now, have an entire episode to kind of direct them to directly from you. So I'm grateful for you taking the time to share the message.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, I greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to let me come on, and I appreciate you giving all the time to all the athletes to support Terphouse and all the support you give to the MMA community. It's very awesome for what you do for the Colorado MMA community. I thank you for it very much.
Oh yeah, well definitely. Thank you. Appreciate that. Shout out to Jordan Titoni. I know he carries your banner as well. So both with some mutual contacts on that side.
Derek Brennan's he's my OG. Randy Rowland from Factory X, he's one of my OGs. Brian Rogers, Adam Martinez, Adam Stroop. Everybody at Factory X is awesome. Coach Montoya is just legendary. So. And
I can't forget the big homie Cortez. Cortez is a little scary out there in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's Conquer BJJ in Ida, Oklahoma. I do want to give a couple shout-outs to a couple very important people to me. He's not going to see this probably because he don't watch it, but Brandon Powell was a pretty close friend of mine, and he helped me kind of start the direction of the company. I want to thank Brian Rogers. I want to thank Chris Camozzi. Chris Camozzi kind of got me guided towards the right direction on exactly what I wanted to do with my CBD, so he's a big part of this as well. Randy was always supportive too. Jim Walter, he manages the baddest man on the planet. Just everybody, Derek Brennan for supporting me so long. Cortez, Myron, and Demario Dennis. Brian Kelleher, Max Griffin, Anthony Hernandez. Watch him on the Contender Series coming up. Just everybody. I really appreciate you. Just everybody that wants to try to help somebody. That's all we need. We just need more people trying to be compassionate and just help somebody, just to help them. There's not got to be anything in it for you, except for the good karma and the good feeling of knowing that person's taken care of. So that's what the message of Terphouse is we want to take care of everybody.
That's incredible, man. You talked about it earlier before we kind of started rapping and getting on air. But, it's kind of just all bringing an entire family together from, different walks. Everybody kind of brings a different bit of value to the equation, and everybody's just kind of supporting each other's movement. It's a beautiful thing, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm very thankful to be associated with a big group of such, compassionate and hardworking and caring people. So very passionate for the people, are very, very fortunate for the compassion that I've gotten from the people that I came across in this journey. So I'm just looking forward to the coming years and helping more people. So anybody has any questions about CBD, you can reach out to me at info@theterphouse.com. You can get on Instagram or any of the social media, The Terphouse. Ask me questions. If you're taking another brand, let me know. Let's do some comparisons. I don't want to downplay anybody. I don't spread false information. I just love good information and helping people. So I'm here for whatever, man.
That's a great way to be. Just a great resource for information in general. And for everybody listening out there, how many business owners are that humble to say, hey, you know what? I don't care if you're taking somebody else's stuff. Let's talk about how that stacks up or what you might be taking. So that's pretty incredible, man. You have a big heart on that side of things. I do want to throw out a couple shout-outs myself, too, as well. Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I say, I just want to throw out a couple of shout-outs and thank yous as well. First off to you and Terphouse for, taking the time, like we've said already. But I also want to throw a shout-out to the Lone Wolf Beard Company, Colorado's premium all-natural beard product provider. There's going to be a whole new wave of some Lone Wolf stuff that's coming out in the next couple of weeks. Big Pino's got some stuff in the works there. And I also want to say thank you to Jim Walter. He's been a big factor in putting together connections like us right now, from the LFA card that night. So thank you very much, Jim. Brian, the professional predator Rogers out there, I want to say thank you to all your support out there as well too.
Yeah, Brian's like my big brother, so I got a lot of love for him. So
that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. So what's the next big thing on the burner for you with Terphouse? Is there a big event that you guys are involved in, or a new something in the mix?
Yeah, I mean we have a couple seminars coming up. I think middle or the end of June we might be going over to Milwaukee to do something with a sport. And then might be heading down to Florida to do some things at a couple of gyms down there. And then I have my Terphouse CBD line coming out. Terphouse is the pet line of CBD. It's 1,000 milligram bottles, 1 ounce, 30 milliliter bottles. It's good for a month. It's going to give them 30 milligrams of CBD per serving. So that's going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be unflavored, so you don't have to worry about them spitting it out. But I'm also coming out with like chicken and bacon and things like that, so it'll be a little bit more appetizing for the dogs. But I just want to expand my CBD line and coming out with a little bit more gadgets and clothing and things. So just keep checking on the terphouse.com and just keep terps. Just just gotta. Research on different terpenes, because a lot of people didn't understand like what terpenes are, but they're the essential or botanical oils. So kind of like the doTERRA with the peppermint oils and things. It's the same thing. So peppermint is a terpene, bananas are terpenes, roses are terpenes. So terpenes aren't just something cannabis related. So we need to get that stigma out of the way as well, because I run into that a whole lot as well. So I'll just be rambling all night long, so we'll probably just...
Oh, no, you're good, man. Like I say, I mean, how many people out there would know that, though?
Yeah, not a lot
that's
of
the
people,
big thing,
So that's the thing. So platforms like this is where we can spread knowledge, and I just love the opportunity to be able to come out, and obviously I like to talk, so I greatly appreciate the opportunity to do so.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just kind of, before we tie some stuff up, I want to ask you one question in relation to all of this. What would you say has been the biggest, take-home life lesson since you've started this project? What's the biggest thing that's kind of been that drive-home point for you?
Give up on your... it sounds cliche and cheesy, but I always told my wife, I was like, you're going to see me on TV in that cage, and you're going to see me with a championship belt and blah 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 blah. And then when I was diagnosed with the brain aneurysm, obviously that went out the table, and I feel like a lot of people would have given up life at that point, because that's a big passion of mine. Like that's the only thing that I was good at, or the only thing that I wanted to do. And instead of laying down and accepting that, I turned it around and did this. So no matter what life throws at you, you can still accomplish your goals, even if you have to alter the outcome a little bit. So just life's too short to give up. Like a lot of people are living up till 90, and that's still too short. I'm 35 years old. I was given 2 to 3 years to live. So I'm not supposed to make it past 40, and I bet you me and you are going to be having this interview when I'm 50.
Hell yeah. We definitely will be.
We're going to be rocking it. So, yeah, I mean, that's the biggest takeaway is just don't let obstacles get in the way of where you're wanting to go in life. You can always climb or go around them.
It's a great message you have, great adage to add to it. That kind of just piggybacks off of a slogan that we have or share here at the Peanut Gallery a lot, and it's on a lot of our stuff. Don't fucking quit. Don't
fucking quit.
Yes. That's kind of been the general premise from a lot, because I've worked with a lot of athletes to some of the trainers, to coaches, former athletes like Chase Vaughn, who now is on the, runs his own Playmakers, Game Breakers Academy, helping train the next generation. Everybody pretty much has that same mentality that I think helps keep fueling us all to get to these next steps. So, like I say, man, just thank you very much for being a part of all this. Is there any last thing that you want to part ways with and sharing with the crowd?
No, just be kind to one another, man. Don't let all this media bullshit fade you.
That's a good message right there.
Media makes it out, you know. Grab a friend, hug them, tell them you love them, black, white, brown, doesn't matter.
Life is too short to carry that hate.
That's the only thing I want. I just want to preach love and health. Just take care of yourself and the ones you love.
Absolutely, right there. So, hey, this is Jordan Kurtz. I'm Comments from the Peanut Gallery host. We've had a great podcast right here with the Terphouse with my man Brandon Lambert. On the outro, we're going to be playing, as customary, Not So Quiet Storm NSQS by Colorado's leading rock reggae group Beyond Bridges. Everybody have a nice evening. Thanks, Brandon.
Grow tall. The poor boy sits at home just waiting for her call. And the clock strikes midnight, and the telephone rings. And on the other line he hears a sweet voice sing. And when you go, the world moves so slow. And when you go, I feel so alone. When you go, the world moves so slow. But when you go, I feel so alone. Down. His headlights blazing as he heads towards her town. And the street lights faded, and the air was so cold. Her house up on the hill was now a pile of stone. And he hears no voices as he walks all around the house where she once lived that had fallen to the ground. And he finds a letter, and he reads it aloud. He can only think of her as he crumbles to the ground. And when you go,